Cities, inaugural cup winners. Chris Economides wins the cup for Melbourne victory.
MacArthur FC, Australia Cup champions.
Sydney FC, they win the cup.
Match day 5 of the round of 32. Tonight coming to you from the Kingsway Sporting Complex, about half an hour north of the Perth CBD. And we have an all-NPL clash between Olympic Kingsway and Edgeworth Eagles. Robbie Feldman here. Great to have your company tonight, and we'll hopefully be in for another cup cracker, as the two other games that have been played in Perth, well, they've seen 14 goals in total, including that thriller on the weekend, that ridiculous 5-4 that saw the Glory claim a first cup win in 8 years and knocked Melbourne City out in the process. And the Olympic, known as the Green Machine, they currently sit atop the NPL WA, 5 points clear of Perth Red Star, and they've only lost 2 games all season. And the Eagles, they sit third in the Northern New South Wales NPL competition and are pretty set for finals with just 2 games remaining in their regular season. All right, to the team news. And for Kingsway, there are several famous cup names in the squad tonight. Joe Knowles, back from a stint with Hyderabad in India, and who's played on the national stage for Perth Glory and Oakley Cannons previously. And on the bench, arguably one of the most famous names in tournament history, Liam Boland, who has the chance to become the all-time leading scorer in Australia Cup history, as he currently sits one behind A-League legend Besart Berisha, who has 12 goals to his name. And for the Eagles, there are 6 players in the starting 11 who have previous cup experience, several of whom ran out in last year's round of 32 loss to Western United. But 2 in particular who have lit up the NPL this season are New Zealand under-23 reps Seth Clark and Ryan Foots, both 23 years old, both in their first year with the Eagles. But Foots in particular, having only joined the club in May, has already racked up an astonishing 20 goals in just 11 games to lead the Golden Boot race. Here is the Edgeworth coach, Peter McGuinness. In his 3rd season as head coach, was awarded the A-League Women's Coach of the Year back in 2014 when he was with Newcastle Jets. Been around the Newcastle region, the football community, for such a long time. Daniel Elder, referee tonight, very experienced A-League referee. He'll be assisted by Adrian Lechty and Lawson Rimmer. Teams getting set for kickoff. Everyone doing their final counts. And David Tuff, head coach of Kingsway, now in his 3rd year in charge as well. And he guided the club to promotion a couple of years ago, which ended a 23-year exile from the NPL. Relegated back in 1999. He's done an amazing job to get this historic club back into the highest level of NPL football in the state of Western Australia. Kingsway tonight wearing a special edition cup jersey tonight. Edgeway will be in their red and black. And we're underway here in Perth. Hopefully we will see a lot more goals tonight to add to that tally. And it is a warm good evening to Eric Partaloo in commentary tonight. Eric, well, it was all looking forward to it after the weekend's action with, you know, not too much rain, and all of a sudden they're back. I'll get to you in a second, Eric. Early cross, nodded away. And Edgeworth dealing with that first foray. The cross delivered in early and swung away once more. Trying to get you in, Eric. Beautiful.
Forward to this one, and you know, 2 NPL sides going head to head in the round of 32. Most people would agree that maybe the Victorian and the New South Wales competitions are the stronger NPL competitions in the country, but Olympic Kingsway and Edgeworth FC will have something to say about that tonight. And one of the toughest away trips in Australian football may have just got a little bit tougher for Edgeworth. They've got to deal with the slippery conditions early on.
As Kingsway look to break down this Edgeworth defence once again. Here's Joseph Knowles. Really is tough conditions. The rain started teeming down just before coming on air. It's been like that most of the day here in Perth. It was only last week the Red Star hosted Lions FC. I think near apocalyptic conditions that night. Thankfully they're not that bad here tonight, but still the rain's coming down quite heavily. That's a lovely ball curling in behind the defence. And the Edgeworth keeper Conway comes out smartly.
It's a beautiful ball through right there, trying to find Garner in that space and make that run from midfield tonight. He's sort of playing a little bit more central up front, trying to apply that first press again tonight, and Edgeworth just trying to play out to the back and find their main man. There he is, making that touch there, Clark.
Ball turned over once again in midfield, and away goes Knowles. So much experience in the Australia Cup. Now 27 years of age, Joseph Knowles. I think his 6th Australia Cup game tonight. Last one was back in 2022, quarter-final for Oakley against Sydney FC. Aaron Williams with the header out of defence for Kingsway. Such a great pickup for this WA club. In fact, both Knowles and Liam Boland. And Eric, you would have seen a bit of Joe Knowles playing in India with Hyderabad, and telling me off air that he was arguably one of the best players.
Yeah, he was super, just with his energy. And look there, you can just see him trying to press the goalkeeper and Harry and make everybody nervous on that defensive lineup. And he was a little bit unlucky with his time in India. The club ran into some financial difficulties and he wasn't able to spread his wings as far as he would have liked. But he's Olympic Kingsway's pick-up now, and he's had a great season as well for them in the WA NPL.
Edgeworth, the first time tonight really in the attacking third, but throw-in doesn't quite find feet. Certainly a massive bonus as well, picking up someone of the calibre of a Liam Boland, all-time record goal scorer in NPL Victoria. Doherty Cup winner, won the title last year with Avondale. He'll be coming off the bench tonight. He's only just returning from a syndesmosis injury, which has kept him out for 10 or so weeks. But he's certainly happy to be home. Here they come again. Low cross, dealt with quite easily. But otherwise, two very evenly matched sides on paper. Certainly judging by their league form. As I mentioned off the top, Kingsway top of the ladder in WA, Edgeworth third comfortably. So it all points to a very interesting matchup, and there's a lot of goals on both sides.
And that's what makes it a great Australia Cup game. It's so even, and just playing at this venue Tuesday night in Perth, it just makes it even more special for these two sides to try and get themselves into that round of 16. And you just said there, Olympic Kingsway, they've got a great squad on paper, but we know that football is not won on paper.
Only took 5 minutes for the first cliche to come out. Well done, Eric. Edgeworth on attack. Seth Clark. Lovely swinging ball in. Comes through to the back post. Goodman! And Edgeworth hit the front. A quick glance over to the linesman. The assistant referee keeps his flag down. And after 6 minutes here in Perth, it is the visitors, Edgeway, who take a 1-0 lead.
We'll talk about cliches. Nothing cliche about this man, Seth Clark. He's their main man this season and just floats that ball in and asks a question, trying to find the danger man, Foots, who's been scoring a bundle of goals. And it just goes through a couple of bodies, and at the far post, it's Flynn Goodman just put his foot through it, kept it low away from the goalkeeper. But it's great play from Edgeworth. They know exactly how to try and cause trouble inside the box, and they've done it here early in Western Australia.
7 goals in the NPL this season for Flynn Goodman, 22-year-old Port Macquarie Junior. Spent some time at Maitland and Adamstown as well. Lovely start by the visiting side. Do have to wonder if, as well, with that ball coming in to Foots, maybe there was a hint of a dummy rather than him trying to attack the ball, which put his defender Labib off enough, and that put a bit of doubt in his mind, and Goodman all alone on the back post.
You just got to ask the question, just put it in there, and that's what they've been so good at this season, Edgeworth Eagles. Just putting things in the box and asking Foots to try and get something in there, and he's a great finisher. Watch the number 9 here for Edgeworth. He'll go after absolutely everything.
Clark on the edge of the box, lifting it forward, looking for Foots, who's big presence up front as well. There's a bit of size about him. Here's Opedasano. Clark again. Really has got such great footwork, and his coach has been on record saying that the Jets should be giving him a trial. If he's someone of this talent, is absolutely carving up the NPL, he needs to be looked at.
Well, if not the Jets, somebody else. And that's what's so great about playing in this competition, is that it's prime time television and a lot of people watching what's going on.
Of course, being a Kiwi, there is a second team from New Zealand now in the A-League. Here's Goodman, the goal scorer, lifting it in, looking for Foots, the diving header from Aaron Williams, but the high boot. And Kingsway get the free kick.
There's some really good DNA in that back line for Kingsway tonight. Aaron Williams, Ryan Lowry, great last names in Australian football. And Aaron Williams has had a weird and wonderful ride to get himself to Kingsway, but he has to form that partnership tonight with Ryan Lowry and to try and keep those guys quiet up the top.
A-League experience for both Williams and Lowry, of course, you mentioned. That famous footballing family from WA, the Williamses, Reese and Ryan. I did read while I was doing my research in a getting to know piece, Aaron Williams, when asked who would play you in a movie, he said Chewbacca. Which, to be fair, is not a bad shout.
He never takes anything seriously, Aaron Williams. It's good to see.
Here's Clark again. Plenty of early touches for Seth Clark.
And you look at their formation, Robbie, where they operate to try and get Seth Clark on the ball. He doesn't really stay out wide, and he comes inside on that left foot, just so dangerous for the Edgeworth Eagles. It's been evident so far the last couple of plays. It's get the ball into Seth Clark and allow him to drift inside and look for those passes inside.
Really look at the stat count and Edgeworth. A healthy dose of possession. Just forcing Kingsway into a bit of a cul-de-sac. They've done well to get out of that. Knowles dinking it forward, appealing for the free kick, and I think they've got it. Yeah, whistle's gone. Daniel Elder. Knowles slow to get up, but looks okay. You see that speed of Knowles coming to the fore again, just getting the toe in first, and looks like we might have a yellow card as well.
Well, he clearly loves his football out on the right-hand side. Joe Knowles trying to get himself forward, and they're going to set up straight away here, and it's going to be Mitch Oxborough putting in something in the box with the tall timber, all ready to try and find this reply. Give you some sort of indication how desperate they are already to try and get the ball in the box.
Free kick for Kingsway to be taken by captain Mitch Oxborough. Goes deep. Keeper came. And sneaking in on that back post was Callum O'Connell. Bit of hesitation from Ben Conway. Aaron Opadesano as well. The Eagles keeper nearly left himself out to dry there.
I saw these guys play the last round of the Australia Cup Olympic Kingsway against Perth Soccer Club, and it was pouring down and the pitch was soaked and there was tackles flying in, but they really managed that game extremely well by playing good football. And as we said before, the game was a lot of rain on this surface, but it's held up extremely well, hasn't it?
Which is a credit to actually all the grounds over here in Perth, which have dealt with the conditions. As bad as they were at Percy Doyle last week, pitch held up reasonably well. Kingsway back in possession, spotting the run forward of Garner. Conway again hesitating, not sure whether to use his hands or his feet. Kingsway get it back in a great position. Big tackle comes in. Daniel Elder took a long time to blow the whistle. He's looking for the advantage and none came in the end. So here's the yellow card from just before. Looks like it's Xander Warries who has gone in Daniel Elder's notebook early on.
Definitely going to see a lot of that tonight. A lot of tackles flying in, a lot of things being perhaps that second or two late because of the surface, and the referee's got to have a good job early on to try and tame the expectations of the players, and giving out a yellow card early probably does that, just slows them down and makes them think the referee's on his game.
Ball with Njegic, looks forward. Nearly a lovely ball over the top for Oxborough. Another one with a healthy dose of A-League experience, Mitch Oxborough. 68 games in total. One goal to his name as well, which he scored back in 2015 for the Glory against the Wanderers. Actually has a great Australia Cup record himself. He's played 5 and won 4. Not quite your record of 100%, 4 from 4, but not too bad.
Well, the incredible thing about Mitch is that his ability to go up and down the competitions. Northern New South Wales NPL he's played, and he's played in the Western Australia NPL, and in between those stints he was able to go up and down and play at the Brisbane Roar, to Broadmeadow Magic, onto Jaffas, Buildup Croatia, then back to Perth Glory. It's been a really strange career path for Mitch. And this Olympic Kingsway, their side, and another cliche coming for you, Robbie, is stacked.
It's 2 and 15 minutes, Eric. You want to slow down? Comes Edgeworth, lovely turn from Goodman, gets himself into space, looking for Foots with the cross. Eventually tidying up was Njegic. Just see players slipping on the wet surface. The shot comes in, and well, another example there. Keanu Moore just unable to get a solid enough footing. Eventually just sprays his shot high and wide.
It's rare to see Foots coming short to get the ball, so it's really good to see Keanu Moore just getting himself in that space behind and identify that there's possibly another avenue for them to go towards goal tonight, not just going through that big number 9, the target man, with the target on his back, it must be said.
Here's Clark cutting infield once more. He has a great ability to turn away from danger and create a few meters of space for himself. Goodman losing out in the tackle in the end. And Kingsway once again trying to go in behind early. Idea was right, looking for Joseph Hobson. But they're not afraid, Kingsway. Look long, look early. And with this ball skidding off the surface, it's not a bad tactic.
And they commit a lot of numbers forward. And potentially that's why we're seeing a lot of Tyler Garner getting forward. Mitch Oxborough is there holding the midfield.
No handball, says referee Elder. Now O'Connell tries to go through Seth Clark.
Keep going, Kingsway!
Opedisano battling with Hobson. Yeah, Kingsway just the 2 losses on the season. Last time had an L next to their name was in June. Lost to Fremantle City on that occasion. 4 games left in the regular season. Top 4 make the finals.
And they had a massive result on Friday too, didn't they? Winning 1-0, and second spot Perth Red Star lost as well. So they're on course for some silverware this season. And when you're playing in the Australia Cup, there is that little distraction factor. You know, pushing the game to a Friday maybe. If you get a heavy loss or a heavy win, how does it affect you in the next game in your NPL campaign? But I think they have a lot of quality in this squad, and you can see with the likes of Liam Boland being on the bench tonight, they have that luxury.
Opedisano lifts it over the top looking for Clark, but the flag goes up. It certainly does help that Olympic are at home, so there's no travel factor, which obviously is for Edgeworth, and the Eagles making that trip from east to west, having to stay an extra night really to kind of adjust for everything. You also mentioned the distraction of having a cup game midweek. It's leading into the cup game as well, which can be a distraction, as you know, players potentially may have an eye on the game further down the track rather than the one at hand.
You've just got to take it at face value, one game at a time. But it is difficult to travel and get across in a different time zone and spend the night, and something you're not accustomed to doing possibly in the season. And Edgeworth have been carving up their competition week in, week out. But the big question for them is, can they do it on a Tuesday night in Perth?
I think the locals might take a little bit of offence to that. It's not quite Stoke.
It's almost similar conditions.
Fair.
The pitch is better.
His foot's receiving very deep. Trying to win possession back for Edgeworth. He's speaking on their form coming into tonight, unbeaten in their last 5. Opedisano does well, shows his speed. Can't quite finish off with the cross, but it's deflected behind for a corner. First one of the night.
He's a big unit at right back, Opedisano. That's his job, up and down, providing those crosses for Foots, who again was dropping short to try and help out that midfield, just keep possession and gain some sort of possession. Here's Seth Clark. He's got all the ability on that left peg of his.
In swinging corner, keeper stays on his line, nodded clear. is Lebib. Chance to get forward. The left back. Going all the way over to the right-hand side of the field. Again, another player slips over. Sliding challenge comes in. Here's Njegic. Will chase this down. A lot of space in front of him. Looks to swing it in. It's not a bad ball to the edge of the 6-yard box. Edgeworth break straight away.
There's Njegic just trying to whip that one in straight away. And if they had another runner coming across from midfield, Kingsway there, it would have been on for all money. And that's what they try and do. They try and play in and have numbers around the edge of the box. But Sasha Njegic, a little bit more wider tonight on that left-hand side. Used to see him a little bit more centrally.
Yeah, here's Hobson. Tries to take it around Lowry's, his first touch. Lovely ball forward between the lines. Moore done well himself to get it away to Clark. Chance to go one-on-one with his defender. Shows those silky skills with the feet. Finds Goodman in space. One tonight already for Flynn Goodman. It's a bit of a tame shot away, and the defence has enough time to recover. And Knowles wins the throw-in.
Solid work there from Joe Knowles. Wasn't just standing up there waiting for the ball to come to him. He's got to help out. He's got to get back. But again, it's Seth Clark on the dance floor, trying to find something to make this side tick. He doesn't like to go out wide, but once it does, it gets out to Goodman again, and probably should hit the target from there.
Yeah, on Clark once again, a quote from his own coach, Peter McGuinness. I haven't seen anyone in this league doing what he does in the last 20 years, which is fairly big raps.
Massive. But for the people who have not seen him in the first 24 minutes, I tend to agree with him.
There's certainly something about him, young Seth Clark. A couple of years with Canterbury United in the local New Zealand League. Stint in the US as well with the Liberty Flames and San Diego State. Certainly has impressed everyone around Edgeworth with his dedication and ability.
Strong Sash, good boy. Too good, unlucky. Well done, Sash, brilliant. Brilliant, Sash, too good.
And you feel like the competition is getting closer and closer every year between the NPL talents coming through and just making that step up to the A-League. And it was so far away a couple of seasons ago, but with great ball there from Williams.
Lovely diagonal pass. Kingsway chases it down, but just lacking enough power to get past first defender. You're certainly right, Eric, and if anything, this season and the next couple, there is a real opportunity for some bright young NPL talents to attempt that step up at least and see if they can crack the A-League.
And the greatest thing about the Australia Cup and the NPL competitions is that there is no written rule of where and how a pathway of someone's career should take shape. It might take you until you're 23 or 24, 25 to get a gig in the A-League if that's what you want to do with your football career. Just because you're 16 and 17 and you haven't made it yet, this should be a bit of motivation for the kids watching at home. You can still make a career for yourself until you decide not to.
Kingsway get a free kick. About 25 yards out from goal. too far out for Knowles to have a go himself, but drives it into the near post, takes a flick off the front defender, goes behind for a corner. And Kingsway get their first of the night.
Yeah, just a little bit low there from Joe Knowles. Didn't get the purchase that he probably wanted to get over that first man, and did just enough there. It was good defending in the end from Tyson Jackson.
Probably just a couple of inches away from being a perfect ball in. The corner swung in, keeper punches, falls to the edge of the box. Knowles lifting it, tries to chip Conway. Goes out for a goal kick.
Well, it can be dangerous. Joe Knowles makes a good attempt there just to try and get the ball under control. Very difficult to hit a wet and slippery ball on this surface tonight, but they'll need more from him. They'll need more from Joe Knowles and Joe Hobson up top as well. The two Joes up top.
It's Keanu Moore wrestling his way. Loses out with the free kick. Kingsway making their Australia Cup debut tonight. Become the 12th club from Western Australia to play in the Cup. The state's record hasn't been that good. Just the one win in 20 games for the NPL sides. But we did see one drought broken on the weekend with glory. Just to say that Kingsway won't be able to achieve that tonight. They are playing from behinds.
Come on, where's the card?
It was Joe Melmoth there just stepping in, stopping play. When you're 1-0 up, you want to try and frustrate the opponent, and they're certainly doing that in their defensive shape, the Eagles.
Lovely turn to find Goodman in space once again, who's been busy down this left wing. Takes on Labib. He's able to win it back. On the byline, lifting it in. Clark just over his head. Opatasano is there. It's good defensive work in the end for Kingsway.
Just needed somebody to attack that cross there, and they got themselves into the box. That was the key moment for them. Seth Clark finally put under a little bit of pressure, but it was Goodman, and he takes a little touch here and gets himself in the box. That was really important, to try and ask a question from the defenders, and then Opatasano had nobody around him to try and help him out.
Melmoth runs it for Clark. This time off his right boot. Cross is just too close to Adrian Sinagra. Well, the ball went out in any case, so it'll be a goal kick.
Well, you just feel every single time that Seth Clark is getting the ball, something's happening. And if you're another player that's playing for the Edgeworth Eagles, you're just getting yourself in that box and saying, find me. Put it on the head, put it on the volley. He'll find somebody tonight.
Already has one assist. Managed to find Flynn Goodman for that opening goal after just 6 minutes. Another raking crossfield ball. And here comes Kingsway through Garner, and then the cross from out wide. Just seems to be that final pass, that final delivery, not quite hitting the mark just yet for Kingsway. They're certainly creating enough.
It's got to be better, Robbie. It's got to be better in that wide area from Joe Knowles, because it's been a little bit of hold-up play from Hobson and interchanging with Garner, and here's another opportunity to try and engage a little bit more with their front men and get quality into the box. They're trying to just steady themselves here, though. Kingsway.
Match day 5 of the Australia Cup, round of 32. 4 games in action. A couple of NPL versus A-League sides happening right now. So hopefully you've got a couple of screens out handy. Melbourne Victory travelling to Edgeworth's home ground, funnily enough. Jack McLaughlin is Lambton Jaffers. Fierce rivals in the NPL, Northern New South Wales. South Melbourne taking on Wellington Phoenix as well. And fairy tale story of the Cup this year, Melbourne Serbia in the 4th tier, taking on the Modbury Jets. There's lovely work from Knowles, who takes another late hit. Daniel Elder looking for advantage, none coming. And this presents a dangerous opportunity for the home side.
Well, Tyson Jackson made a miraculous recovery there for the Edgeworth Eagles, but it didn't matter because the referees pulled it back for advantage. And there he is there. The man bun, Tyson Jackson, he's been everywhere already tonight, just trying to fill those gaps and try and stop this Olympic Kingsway side from finding an equaliser. And you feel like this is going to be a Mitchell Oxborough territory on the left foot.
Dead centre of the park, so either the left boot of Oxborough or the right of Joe Knowles. He was on the end of that knock. This looks very tasty indeed for a dead ball specialist. Conway's left a lot of space over to his right. It will be Knowles driving it low, deflected off the wall and behind for a corner.
Good strike from Joe Knowles, and a good little interchange there. Mitch Oxborough running over and just made players move a little bit there. It was Joe Knowles getting caught with a foul on the edge of the box, which led to this free kick, and it just clipped the heels.
Corner swung in. Conway gets both fists to it. Knowles tries the first time shot under pressure, and coming away with it, Fayers, and looking for a fast break from Edgeworth, but it falls down in midfield. Aaron Williams has stayed up. Comes through to Garner. Edgeworth getting plenty of numbers back. Somehow finding space to get the cross away, and it's behind for another corner.
It's a little bit messy out there, and the conditions are playing their part, but Olympic Kingsway really putting in an effort now to try and put the Eagles under pressure, and they just need to be a little bit cleaner with that final ball.
Oxborough once again goes deep, comes all the way through to Aaron Williams. Now Garner, low, hard, comes through to the keeper, was unsighted, still there, and it's turned in. And Kingsway have the leveller through Joseph Hobson. You have to feel for the Edgeworth keeper, Ben Conway, there, just through a forest of bodies. Did well to make the save, but right there to pounce Hobson. And we are locked up at 1-1 here in Perth.
They're under pressure there, the away side, and it's Hobson running away to celebrate. It was a scrappy goal, but he won't mind because that's the equaliser. And it was great work from Aaron Williams just to recycle possession and get the ball back out and just ask those questions. On a slippery night tonight, anything and everything will happen, and it did, and it's 1-1.
And that's brought the crowd right into this one. Five goals in the NPL season for Hobson. Zopatisano scrambling back. Can't go anywhere but behind for a corner. And Kingsway, they're playing with their tails up now.
Well, Edgeworth just need to stop giving away these sorts of opportunities, and set pieces are obviously a big threat for the home side. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing the second phase play as well.
Oxborough once more deeper this time. Williams is there, but will be another corner. Don't think there was much Woweries could have done with that. But Hobson has had a good season so far. 4 goals in the Cup qualifiers, 2 doubles. Kingsway just ramping up the pressure. Corner swung in, near post. Hoofed away by Opedasano. Falls for Garner. Eventually comes back through Lebeb. Long ball forward and thrown to the ground. Wrestling styles. Opedasano versus Knowles.
They're really struggling to get out Edgeworth at the moment, and I think for the home side they've maybe smelt blood a little bit, understanding that this is a chance to try and get something before half-time and take the lead. And they're stringing passes together, they're putting pressure inside the box, and that's where it counts.
It's Pawiak forced back into his corner. Skipper of the Eagles tonight and current physio of the Newcastle Jets, Andrew Pawiak.
What would happen if they played each other?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure. First time half volley. Cleared, not convincingly. Eventually comes to Njegic, one-on-one with Opedasano. Eventually the experienced right back can clear it up the line. Williams copped a big shove in the back there from Foots.
In control at the moment, Olympic Kingsway, and making all the right moves defensively, not allowing an inch or allowing the likes of Foots, their target man, to get a foothold and allow their team to get up the pitch.
Real shift in momentum over the last 5 or 10 minutes. It was virtually all Edgeworth inside that opening half hour.
Well, they've just got to go back to basics, I think, and it really worked well by trying to get the likes of Seth Clark and Keanu Moore onto the football, and possibly just before half-time that they realised this could go anywhere, this game, so hold on to your hats.
Lovely work down the right-hand side and conceding another free kick, Edgeworth. Fayers this time the guilty body, and Daniel Elder pointing it out a couple of times. Fouls by Fayers and becomes the second player into the notebook.
It's not a smart option. You've got to keep on your feet if you're getting beaten from there. I mean, it's a cynical challenge, and he's lucky it's not more. And from the set piece, they've already shown how difficult they can be to handle the home side. So it's Oxborough again, who's going to ask all sorts of questions across the face of goal here.
Well, Chris Fayers is no stranger to a yellow card in the NPL. Got 4 to his name this season. Another set-piece opportunity for the home side. Oxborough. Keeper comes. Good confident punch from Conway. Danger not entirely clear. Garner. Heading into the corner as Knowles. There's 2 Edgeworth defenders to deal with and can still fashion a cross, but cleared by Woweries and Seth Clark, who hasn't had too many touches recently. dancing his way in midfield. Lovely tackle coming in from Oxborough. He's off at Desano. Paviak looks back to Wowries and now Fayers. Both centre-backs on a caution now, which isn't ideal territory. It's neatly done by Kingsway once again, and the early cross just losing the radar a little bit.
You can see how dangerous Kingsway can be with the numbers and the speed in which they go at the football. But in terms of the Edgeworth Eagles getting out from that, if they're smart enough to play through a press, and I know it's a difficult night for that, and they go long again, it's about getting that man on the ball. He shouldn't be trying to win headers in the middle of the park. It should be played into him to allow him to try and create something from that left foot.
Here's Njagic. He's trying to drag Paviak out of position. Now Oxborough. Njagic again. Clark looking for his countryman foots, but another push in the back. Well, you mentioned that trying to play out, and a lot of it does have to come through Clark, but then does that mean he's receiving too deep? It's almost a double-edged sword. He's that skillful on the ball, on attack, but if they're trying to play out, does that mean he has to take up more a 6 kind of position? And
there's their second option for him. When Seth Clark gets the ball, it's to try and find Foots, who's been marshalled so well by Aaron Williams, who's a cut above at the moment, just reading absolutely everything that goes into him.
Battling away Garner, and she rolls behind for another corner. Finishing the half strongly here, the home side.
It did not take long, did it? 2 or 3 passes and already they get themselves into the box, and it took them a while to get started here, the home side, but they found their feet late on in the half.
Oxborough goes to the near post this time, the diving header. The Kingsway captain will have another crack at it. Variation on the corner comes to Knowles, hits it first time, but just bobbling a little bit and never really looked like he was getting over the shot.
Always difficult to keep those down, but you've got to applaud the idea. And I think for Edgeworth's sake, it's going to be, let's get to the sheds at 1-1 and reassess and try and find something different to come up with, and a little bit more attacking endeavour going forward. And that middle part of the pitch is where they're losing the battle as well. I'd love to see them pick up a little bit more second and third balls and show a little bit more aggression in there.
Just the 1 minute of added time. Not too many notable stoppages in this first 45. It's been quite free-flowing, given the conditions. Thankfully, the rains have stayed away for the time being. Back for Conway, sends it long, and Williams stepping forward. Neat little dummy. Njagic then surrounded by black and red jerseys. Eventually comes through. First time shot, audacious. It wasn't actually too far away. Well, that will be the end of the first half. Honours even after 45 minutes here in Perth. Early opener from Flynn Goodman for Edgeworth. But then the home side worked their way back into the contest. And 10 minutes before half-time, Joseph Hobson got Kingsway back on level terms. Half-time here in Perth, Olympic Kingsway 1, Edgeworth Eagles 1. We're off to a short break, and on the other side, we will review all the first half action. Stick around. Welcome back to the Kingsway Sporting Complex in Perth. This round of 32 clash, all NPL clash between Olympic Kingsway and Edgeworth Eagles. Honours even after the first 45 minutes. And joining me for the halftime show, Eric Partaloo. It's been a very even contest, but the home side finished the much stronger side after being second best, shaded. It wasn't a clear second best, but it was just Edgeworth were really in control for that first half hour.
Yeah, it's been great value on a whole, and I think you're right. Edgeworth came here with a plan and got themselves in front, but then it's almost like the cat got their tongue and they didn't want to talk the talk anymore. And Olympic Kingsway found a way with the quality that they possess and the footballers that they have, and they were able to get themselves back into the game. And I think for Peter McGuinness, he's got a big job now at half-time to try and find another formula to go and get another goal.
Let's take a look at the 2 goals from this first half. The scoring opened in just the 6th minute. It was a great start from Edgeworth. Beautiful ball in from Clark and a good finish from Flynn Goodman.
It was a really good finish. It's bouncing around at the far post. They're easy to snatch at, and it was just about hitting that ball down low and hard. And then through a few set pieces and second phase play, they were unable to clear their lines, Edgeworth Eagles, and it was Joe Hobson, Johnny on the spot. But they were putting a lot of pressure on at that point in time, the home side, and they got some really good opportunities from the set pieces.
Here are the stats after the first 45 minutes. Kingsway shading the count for the most part, right across the board. Better quality of chances as the XG shows. More shots in total. Just the 1 shot on target from each side. It's not a bad conversion rate, really. 1 shot on target, 1 goal apiece. But possession, passes made. Fouls conceded is a big one for Edgeworth Eagles, though. They were both centre-backs on a caution. They just sort of, I think it was that back end as well. There were a lot of fouls conceded, trying to get back on an even sort of shift of momentum.
That tells you everything, doesn't it? Olympic Kingsway probably the better side in terms of keeping possession, but Edgeworth had to find a way to stop them. And that was the only way to stop them, which was to go and foul. So they need probably another idea here, Edgeworth Eagles, and I think getting that option of Seth Clark to be a little bit closer to Ryan Foots in this second half.
So not too many genuine clear-cut chances, but a lot being created by both sides, but just perhaps lacking that quality with the final pass.
And it's numbers forward too, I think, for the Eagles. They get themselves in this position a lot in the Northern New South Wales NPL, and they're just able to find Ryan Foots. When, in terms of what Kingsway are doing, they're not getting their strength, which is their numbers from the middle coming and supporting, but all eyes on this man here, Seth Clark. He's providing a lot of entertainment for the neutral, and hopefully a few A-League clubs watching him as well.
Did find himself almost marked out of the half towards that back end. A lot of touches early. Joseph Knowles as well has been a factor for Olympic Kingsway. But it is the set piece where they are creating the best opportunities, has to be said. So what needs to change in this second half? What do you think both coaches would be telling their charges?
I think for Edgeworth, they need to find Seth Clark more often and more centrally and combine them with Ryan Foots. They need to find another avenue to get themselves a goal. But for David Tuff and Olympic Kingsway, it's just about applying more pressure in that final third. And you feel like Edgeworth are just going to crack if they go 2, 3, 4 times in a row.
Good to see a couple of Edgeworth fans have made the trek across, or unless there are a couple of Newcastle locals living in Perth. So second half is not too far away. We'll have all the action on the other side of this short break. Welcome back to Perth. Players out on the pitch for the second half. Olympic Kingsway 1, Edgeworth Eagles 1. And there is 3 more games to come in the round of 32 tomorrow night. Coverage starts from 7 p.m. on 10 Play. A couple of intriguing clashes. NWS Spirit taking on Cup debutants Glenorchy Knights from Tasmania. Olympic FC from Queensland taking on Apia Leichhardt. And Heidelberg up against Central Coast. The only A-League side in action tomorrow night. And of course afterwards, the round of 16 draw will take place. Scotty McKinnon, Daniel McBreen and Roy O'Donovan in the studio for the draw. All set to go here in Perth, the second half. Don't look to be many changes on either side just yet. We'll confirm, of course, as soon as we can. Back underway here at the Kingsway Sporting Complex. And Eric Pardaloo, I think, for the Edgeworth Eagles and Peter McGuinness, halftime came at a very good time for them.
Certainly did. And you can expect the proverbial rockets possibly to have come from Peter McGuinness. And you can see with the intensity already here for the Eagles.
There's that danger man, Clark. Started the first half very well. Cuts back out to the byline, lifts it in, looking for foots. Just couldn't generate the angle. Running away from goal. Always difficult to try and get a header on target in that instance. No changes to either side at the break. So the team's running out as they started. We haven't seen too much of Ryan Foots tonight, but he is that kind of player. You give him one chance and he will make the most of it.
That's the blueprint, isn't it? Get the ball to Seth Clark and allow that little option to occur, and it happened really quickly for them.
And one back here for Kingsway. Straight into the feet of Knowles. Brings in Labib on the overlap. Lovely ball in. And that was not far away. Mitch Oxborough with a lovely late run from midfield. Couldn't guide it on target.
He's got to score, the captain for Kingsway. Right exactly where the goalkeeper does not want that ball, which is in the 6-yard box, away from the defenders. Great ball in from Labib. It's a gilt-edged chance. It's got to be in the back of the net. And it's a great run forward from Mitch Oxborough. Haven't seen a lot of those sorts of runs in the first half. Good to see him getting forward.
As Edgeworth goes straight back on attack. Paviak comes out wide to Opedasano. Paviak again. Crucial touch there. Comes through for Williams. Maybe a little lucky to win the free kick. Straight away, Kingsway. Look long. Notable tactic from them in the first half was to get the head up straight away and look for that outlet, and up front, Joe Knowles.
Well, both of these sides haven't had to play a lot of long football in their respective NPL campaigns. It's been about playing through lines and keeping the ball out wide and getting good crosses into the box. But perhaps tonight there needs to be something that changes for the away side particularly. And here's Seth Clark again. It's where you want him to pick up the ball.
Opedasano makes the run down the right wing. One-on-one, cuts it to the byline and deflected behind for a corner.
And that's healthy. That's great to see. Opedasano again down that right-hand side, providing the option, because Seth Clark does come inside so often. The space is there to attack. Now, can the big man, the number 2, use his head here, get himself in the box and make himself a nuisance?
He's taken up a position on the near post. Flynn Goodman in the mix as well. Foots. That's too close to the keeper. Ball back in. And Knowles has come all the way back. Paviak, center of the park. Foots tries fancy touch. Instead, it's opened up a chance for Kingsway. Here's Labib, another tasty cross, and coming through the middle again, Kingsway. But another good chance. Labib, in the last couple of minutes, has put in some very good crosses.
How good's this to watch? Not once, but twice already this half. It's a super ball in, right where the corridor of doubt is. Nobody knew what to expect, but Labib, another great ball on that right-hand side.
I think it might have been Hobson coming through. Here is Hobson. Jagic as well. Keanu Moore back there. Tries to clear his lines.
They've not given him a minute tonight, Foots. He's not been able to get into the game. They've certainly identified, that's the threat for Olympic Kingsway tonight, is not allow him to face forward, don't allow him to get anything that's clean, and make him work with his back towards goal.
Well, if you score 20 goals in just 11 games, I think you're certainly a marked man. The Kingsway certainly have done their homework. Hasn't been too much of a factor tonight. That's certainly not a knock on him. It's a credit to the defensive effort of this Kingsway side.
And potentially that's where Edgeworth Eagles could progress as a team. You look at their formation, it is Ryan Foots very, very centrally and very, very alone for a lot of the campaign this year. And he needs that support closer to him to allow him to have somebody to bounce off, and they're too far away at times, like now.
Well, we've seen Keanu Moore wearing the number 10 jersey just a few moments ago. It was on his own byline. Forward for Kingsway. Jagic. A bit too much on the cross. If that is the case, if you have a striker the calibre of a Foots, the size of a Ryan Foots, do you then take the risk of maybe changing that formation? They're not behind, but they are struggling to get that level footing in the game at the moment.
That's why I'm glad I'm not a coach, and Peter McGuinness is, because he's got all the answers, and he's seen this operate within his squad already. And you're right, it's 1-1, but you feel like Olympic Kingsway are just finding their way to the goal quicker, if that makes sense. And we're not used to seeing Edgeworth not get those chances.
Here comes Kingsway, possibly with a chance of their own. Knowles. Fayers was there. Bebb rises high. Nodded on by Foots. Shanked clearance from Aaron Williams. Edgeworth do have a couple of attacking options on the bench, and the likes of Mason King, Riley Van Haren. But certainly, going by their NPL numbers, haven't had nearly the same impact as a Ryan Foots, but perhaps providing that additional support up top might just be enough to unlock Foots.
You're spot on. They've got to get somebody close to him, and that's the biggest thing now. Do you hang on and hope that your striker that's been scoring goals for fun finds a way? Do you wait for Seth Clark to find another way? And whilst it stays at 1-1, it's a great result being away from home in Perth. And as long as this keeps going, it's more pressure on the home side, 100%. So maybe something will open up for them.
Here's Clark. Gets the dancing shoes on once more. The important step up from Williams, who's decided to go for a run straight up the middle of the park, but Edgeworth able to get possession back. Clark once again. Williams out of position. Now Goodman looks to go around Lebeb, rides the first challenge, dives in on the second, but Williams standing tall.
Well, it was almost great coverage there from Pawiak. And here they come again, Kingsway. They do not know how to take a backward step.
Garner out wide on the right, gets a well-weighted cross. Conway comes again. He's able to get some hands on it. The move breaks down.
It's been much better from Edgeworth, though, considering where they were just before half-time. Only just the half amount of shots as the home side, but it's been a much better response for the first 10 minutes of this second half, and they seem to have found just a little bit more rhythm and a little bit more enthusiasm and intensity. And you know, sometimes when you travel across to Perth, you do have that tendency just to be a little bit shy sometimes.
Nice ball forward is Tyler Garner. Hobson drifts out of the centre of the park. Green shirts flood forward. Comes back forward, Jagic. Early cross, Knowles looking for the back flick. Didn't quite come off for him. That's a neat turn from Wowries in defence. And Edgeworth looked to launch. Slow to get numbers up the field though, and Clark has done very well. That's a well-timed tackle.
Certainly was from Aaron Williams yet again. He's throwing himself in the thick of the action tonight. And that was a better move from Edgeworth, but again, it was the two boys combining, Seth Clark and Foots.
Free kick for Edgeworth, and a second yellow card. Christopher Fayers. Big turning point here in the match. I think he may have had to go in for the challenge, but the speed of Labib got him there just ahead of Fayers. And Edgeworth are going to have to see the last half an hour or so with just 10 players.
Well, this away trip just got tougher and more difficult to navigate now. Fayers, central defender, playing there tonight. And that's an early red card, in the second half. They've got to contend firstly with this set piece. And here's the challenge there. And he had eyes for the ball, to be fair to Chris Fayers. I'm not sure he's expecting Labib to be there that quickly. But when you're on the yellow card, you just cannot get off the ground like that.
Oxborough with the free kick for Kingsway. Delivered into a good area. That's headed straight into the hands of Ben Conway. And a nice release. Touch from Foots. Too heavy. Well, that just adds another layer of intrigue into this one. Kingsway look to use their number advantage. Knowles, it's a low cross in. And Pawiak is there to tidy up. Space just opening up for both sides at the moment.
Edgeworth definitely have to keep that shape with the back four. And we talked about Foots being isolated. I think he's going to be even more isolated now, unfortunately, for the big man. And there's a job to do now when you're down to 10 men. It's about trying to find a way back in the game, but it's also about finding a way not to lose the game. And right now, they're going to have a lot of pressure in the next half an hour or so because they know they've got the extra man advantage. Olympic Kingsway.
Neatly done again by Clark. Pawiak comes out to Goodman here on the left. It certainly would be harsh on Ryan Foots if Peter McGuinness looks to make that substitution. Can't ignore the danger that he does present. Here's Knowles, first time ball, just needed a little bit more Weet-Bix on the cross. Edgeworth looked to play out from the back. I guess normally in this situation you would see the striker come off maybe for a more midfield strengthening, but perhaps the set piece does become a factor now. Use the size of Ryan Foots on the end of corners, free kicks.
Yeah, and he's your top talisman. It's very difficult to even consider that as an option. The shape was maybe a problem at the start, not creating chances and getting enough chances to score multiple goals, because they did score one. And maybe not enough against a team like Olympic Kingsway, and certainly now keeping the score at 1-1, that's going to be the challenge. But with so many great teams going down to 10 men, always seem to find a way and possibly start to play the passes a little bit more slicker as they are now.
Opedasano continues his run forward, ends up with possession. He's in behind here, Aaron Opedasano. Can he deliver some quality on the cross? Foots is there again, running away from goal. Tough to generate any kind of power on the shot. And Kingsway on the counter-attack. Wowries Can't do anything else but put it behind for a throw.
There's a good decision there, just to kick it out, and there's going to be a substitution. And possibly for Edgeworth Eagles, a reshuffle in their shape as well.
So Peter McGuinness going to the bench. Flynn Goodman, goal scorer tonight for the Eagles. Has looked good when in possession, but Kingsway doing well defensively. So a bit of defensive reinforcement. And Labib straight in behind. Josh Dwyer has come on in the back line for Edgeworth. 24-year-old defender, 17 games in the NPL. Stint with Newcastle, Croatia. Returned to football this year after focusing on a bit of boxing. So I wonder if that's a sign of things to come tonight.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but that fight and grit and determination certainly will.
That's more what I meant, yes. Rather than throwing haymakers. And another sub. This time it will be the home team to make a change. David Tuff answering a sub with a sub of his own. And will be the Cup legend himself, Liam Boland, coming onto the park. I was wondering when they would pull the trigger on Liam Boland.
It's good timing. It's really good timing. And you were asking about that possibility of Edgeworth making a change, and I think that was the right one to make, because Goodman's done his job, he's got his goal, but they need Foots out there. He's the penalty taker, he's the talisman, he's the man that can possibly get them back into this game at any point in time.
Knowles, Garner, low cross, falls for Knowles! And it eventually goes in off Aaron Opedasano. It's squirmed under the hands of Ben Conway. And the home side are in front. 64 minutes gone. And a big step forward for a Western Australia NPL team to break this long drought in the Australia Cup.
Well, would you believe it again? Just applying pressure in the box. Joe Knowles did so well just to get that ball into Tyler Garner, and he had time there to register a touch. That's going to be disappointing for Edgeworth Eagles, and the goalkeeping and defending, the less said the better. But it's again getting the ball into the danger man inside the box, and Olympic Kingsway has got himself a 2-1 lead.
So an own goal to Aaron Opedasano. 2-1, the home side in front. Just the one win from 20 games in the Australia Cup over the 10-year history. Now what have Edgeworth got in response? Down a goal, down a player. About 25 minutes remaining. But Asano loses out. Oh, and lovely work. Kingsway on the counter-attack, trying to get numbers forward. The Edgeworth defence falling over themselves. Lovely turn from Knowles and a sharp save from Conway. Crucial fingertip stop from the Edgeworth keeper.
They've got some quality, Kingsway, all over the pitch, and it started on the halfway line. A beautiful little flick that just took two players out of contention. It was Joe Knowles trying to steady himself, trying to get himself to face towards goal. And that's been his best effort all night. And it was Conway, good save to the right-hand side. But here they come again. Olympic Kingsway, it's raining in Perth. They don't care, they can smell. There's more opportunities and more goals in this game tonight.
Confirmation of that change. Sasha Njegic making way for Liam Boland. Corner swung in. Keeper punches again. First time volley on the edge of the box. Coming in from Aaron Williams. Pressure still on here. Kingsway sensing blood. Another lovely ball in. This time it falls for Garner. Low cross, low shot. And eventually turned behind by Josh Dwyer. The Eagles under all sorts of pressure here.
That should have been another goal there for Olympic Kingsway. Again, asking a question, getting it in the box, and Tyler Garner just trying to steady himself, and it was O'Connell couldn't direct the shot. And this is how they scored that goal late in the first half, just by applying this pressure constantly, time after time.
Oxborough on corner duty once more, comes through the header, and it's saved off the line by Conway. Everyone looking over to the assistant referee. No goal. Danger on here. Edgeworth could really fall away from them if they're not careful. Ball lifted in for Boland. Cannons off the big man's chest. And Aaron Williams with the shot over the crossbar.
Wow, it could have easily been a couple of goals there for the home side. And Edgeworth Eagles just all over the shop in terms of their communication.
Well, lovely ball forward for Foots, but again, just unable to get it under control. Appreciates the pass. Edgeworth desperate to get some kind of footing back in this game. Seth Clark nearly turning into danger. Eagles still have possession. Got it on by Dwyer. And Labib has done very well. He's had an outstanding second half, Labib, both on attack and defence.
That was absolutely brilliant there from Labib, trying to get the ball. Used his body really, really well on the sideline.
Pawiak with the shot from distance and a beautiful top corner save. Adrian Sinagra hasn't had much to do tonight, but that is absolutely top draw from the Kingsway keeper.
Great passage of play, and if you're going to try your luck, you may as well tonight. A man down, a goal down, and it was Andrew Pawiak. Such power in that drive.
Will be the Edgeworth skipper on the corner. Nodded clear. Dwyer battling hard with Joe Knowles. Wowries. Here's Foots against Williams. Sneaks across away, but Kingsway defence has been very organised tonight. Foots again, back for Clark. Ball forward for Opadesano. He's just muscled off the ball and it rolls behind for a goal kick.
You've got to give them credit. Edgeworth Eagles trying to manufacture a good chance rather than just try and, have a shot from distance or get across into the box. And unfortunately for them, it's Ryan Foots again, isolated, not getting himself a chance to shoot at goal, getting himself drifting into wide areas. And again, it's all down to Seth Clark pulling the strings in that midfield.
Homeside making another change. Joseph Hobson scored Kingsway's opener after 36 minutes tonight. Straight into the action. Substitute Oliver Annis in jersey number 4. Annis, 25 years old, has been a bit of a mainstay for Kingsway over the last few months in the NPL. As this comes back for Sinagra. Didn't get much help from his centre back there. He's able to clear it.
Yeah, it's not quite panic stations just yet for Edgeworth. They're still hanging in there, and they are capable of finding that way through. I've seen a lot of their football this season in the NPL, and they don't know how to quit, and they have a lot of quality when they need to find it and their back's against the wall. They have this little knack of just finding something from somewhere.
Dwyer loses out to Knowles. That's been a nice little battle over the past few minutes. Centre field for Oxborough. Comes out wide to Annis. Fresh legs, the substitute. Oh, it's flicked on. Straight into the path of Boland. Wasn't really expecting the touch. Boland just one goal behind Besart Barisha for most goals in the Australia Cup. Nearly added to his tally there.
Just lack of communication there. Goalkeeper trying to come out there. Conway and claim, and his defender just got a sneaky little touch with the head and put everybody off the cross that came in. But not a bad effort from Olympic Kingsway, just getting themselves out wide, finding themselves doubling up as they have that extra man now. And they'll do well to keep creating those sorts of chances.
There's Opadesano. And last touch just evades him. Kingsway looking to break a 7-year drought for NPL WA clubs in the Cup. The one and only victory in 20 attempts came back in the round of 32 of 2017, where Sorrento defeated Canberra Olympic. And they're in pole position tonight to double their win count. Clark lays it back for Opadesano. First time cross is at the near post and too low. Knowles fends off Foots. The two nines come together. Now Lebib once again, a beautiful looking cross. Knowles on the edge of the box. Just lacking the power. Here's Oxborough. Now Annis. Oxborough again. And a few extra words from Xander Wowries to the Kingsway captain.
Wow. Watch that space. It was a hefty challenge from both players, wasn't it? Oxborough leading with the studs as well. And that's his game there. Foots, get the ball in, lay it off, get yourself forward. It's good play.
Heavy touch from Pawiak. See the frustration on the Eagles captain. They win the free kick here. Edgeworth, who have a best cup finish of making the round of 16 twice in their 5 previous appearances.
And some pretty special goals en route as well.
Clear by Williams. Only as far as Pawiak. More in there as well.
He's turned it on there, Joe Knowles, in this second half. When he wants to be a top player, he really can be. It's just whether or not he wants to do it on the occasion, and tonight he certainly showed up, and he's back there defending now in that right back position. He wants the ball inside the box. He's creating chances. It's very, very healthy for Olympic Kingsway.
And I think the rain has definitely set in for now. Had a bit of a reprieve in the first half, but has been fairly constant since half-time. Not on by Boland, but Larry's is there. Asano comes back for his centre-back, Xander Wowries, and making things out wide for Dwyer. Takes on Lebeb. Another brilliant tackle from the young fullback. First time ball forward. Garner's onside. Flag does stay down. Tyler Garner in the box. Fires the shot straight at the keeper. And it's behind for a corner. Seems like he didn't know what to do with himself there, Tyler Garner.
It looked like the percentage play was to go across the goal, but it was a super ball out from Joe Knowles in the first place. And Garner looked up, and there was nobody running across the face of goal. It's a good save at the near post from Conway. And it was a hefty, hefty strike. It could have been in the back of the net as well.
Yeah, Ben Conway's had a lot of work to do tonight, especially off set pieces, and this one swings in. Another two-fisted punch away. First time shot goes wide of the goal.
And the biggest problem now is for Edgeworth. They have committed a few players forward, and particularly in that attack you could see that Dwyer had pushed further forward, and it only left 3 players at the back for the Edgeworth Eagles. So at some point they have to risk and go for that, and possibly now we will see that risk taking place.
So the Eagles skipper, his night is done. Eagles making their 3rd substitution. Mason King. In fact, it's a double substitution. Joe Melmoth as well making way. Tyler Berrick, the other Eagle to come on. Boland in space. He's got support on his left. Rolls it forward. And it finds its way into the back of the net. Mitch Oxborough wheels away in celebration. And Kingsway can just about punch their ticket to the round of 16.
It's a nice goal from the home side, and it was orchestrated because they had numbers forward. And Mitch Oxborough has a little thing or two to say to Xander Wowries, and it wasn't the greatest ball forward from Boland. He had a lot to do there, and Conway possibly just getting that technique all wrong. Could only hit the ball into the unrushing Oxborough, who's deserved a goal tonight. He sat in there, he's done his job well, and he identified the space just to get himself a goal, another cup goal here in the Australian Cup.
10 minutes remaining. Edgeworth are facing a steep mountain now. Three goals in the NPL this season, Mitch Oxborough.
They're a team that's going to be very difficult to come up against because they have a lot of quality in every position, and it wouldn't be fair in saying that they're unpredictable, but in that front line, they certainly are, because they've got a lot of different type of players. They've got players who can run forward and get crosses in. You've got guys who can come centrally. You've got Mitch, who's playing as a number 6, who can get forward and score goals late in the game. So their identification of how and when to move their opponents has been first draw tonight.
10 minutes remaining here in Perth. Of course, the late kickoff of the 4 matches tonight. 2 of the other 3 games have finished. I can tell you the fairy tale story that is Melbourne, Serbia. They are currently in a penalty shootout with the Modbury Jets. Here comes Edgeworth. Mason King probably just trying to get himself into the game, up to speed. Just the touch letting him down there. Advantage being played, but nothing comes of it in the end.
Now you can see that 10-man advantage really taking shape.
Boland in a wrestle with Wowreese, but doing a little bit too much for Daniel Elder's liking. Here comes Kingsway once again. Nice turn for Annis. Stays onside, just loses his footing. He's battled back to win the ball. Nodded away at the front post. Falls for Oxborough once again. Looking for Boland at the back post. Nods it into the park, gets the shot away, and what a wonderful goal for Joe Knowles. The 2 Cup veterans combine. And Edgeworth's run will definitely come to a close here in Perth. Olympic Kingsway looking imperious as they head to the round of 16.
The Green Machine, they're marching on. It was great work there from Annis just to get that ball. And I thought the chance had gone there, but it was a great little piece of skill from Mitch Oxborough, who could have had a shot, but identified that Liam Boland was lurking and waiting, and the big man just put it in the path of Joe Knowles, and he slid in there with speed, and it's 4-1 to the home side. What a great goal.
And that is Joe Knowles' first Australia Cup goal. Well, the impact of Liam Boland. 2 assists off the bench. Had a big part to play in their NPL game very recently as well. His first game back from a syndesmosis injury. Played about 20-odd minutes and set up the winning goal for Joe Knowles against Perth Soccer Club. I bet you he still fancies to get one himself. Here's Annis. Boland lurking on the edge of the box. It comes for Knowles again. Palmed away by Conway. Knowles, a 3rd time. Half appeal for handball. Clark for Foots. Clark goes down under the challenge. Free kick and a yellow card. I think that might be to Aaron Williams.
Well, he's been closely watched tonight. Seth Clark trying to get himself involved in this game, but he's that early opportunity. It was almost another goal for Joe Knowles. It was a super save from Ben Conway, and they do not clear their lines. Was that a cheeky appeal for handball? It was nothing doing off the back of Edgeworth Eagles' defensive line, but if there's a lesson to learn tonight, I think, for the Eagles, it's about, obviously they're 10 against 11 now, but they've got to keep their chances coming. They've got to get that ball into Ryan Foots a little bit more often and get players around him. And when they're losing and they're competing and they're copping goals, you can't go and cop 2 goals in a row like that. You've got to stop the flow. And potentially in the Northern New South Wales NPL, they haven't had to deal with these sorts of threats. So it's a bit of a lesson for them here tonight.
Can Edgeworth restore a bit of pride in the scoreline? Here's Foots, who's been marked out of the game. Still able to get across away. Looking for King on the far post. Knowles has been outstanding tonight. Certainly one of the best on grounds. Early ball forward, looking for a Danny Troy-esque goal from inside his own half.
No, Kingsway have been good tonight. It seems as though they've got the right pieces in the right part of the puzzle. And I think for Edgeworth Eagles, they're just maybe a little bit cut adrift in terms of the quality position for position. And that's where they've got it right tonight, the home side. They've figured out how to play when they've needed to, gone long when they've needed to, and when they've wanted to step on the accelerator, they've had a different gear to change into. And you can see them wanting more and expecting more out of themselves.
Here they come again, the green machine. Knowles. Here's Oxborough. He's been masterful in the midfield for Kingsway tonight. Boland. Hearing that there will be 4 minutes of added time to play out as Boland just drifting offside. Just confirming that yellow card did in fact go to Aaron Williams a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's about leadership at some points in time as well. And getting yellow cards is not what you want to show, but just his endeavour to try and win tackles and get himself involved.
Mason King against his opposite number, Ryan Lowry. Moore, Clark, nearly works out for Keanu Moore. Boland again just shows his class with that hold-up play. Opens the space up for Annis. Now Garner, Tyler Garner, and he fancy himself here, rolls it in behind for Knowles, and a great save from Conway. Gets down to his right sharply.
I tell you what, for a team that's losing 4-1, Ben Conway's saved about 3 or 4 more. It could have been a lot bigger, the scoreline tonight for Edgeworth Eagles. He's been fantastic in this last little piece, making some critical saves, and they're lining up the home side.
The Luke Hewings to come on for Tyler Garner. 19-year-old forward. Scored a goal in the Cup qualifiers, the final round against Perth Soccer Club. 2-1 win in round 7. Still sniffing more. Here's Boland. Edge of the box. Goes in behind for a corner. Both sides will be back in action this weekend. Kingsway will travel to Inglewood United. Well, Edgeworth will have to trek all the way back across to the East Coast. No host Cooks Hill this weekend. Corner for Kingsway, near post, the flick on header. Can't be directed on target.
That's something to work on, I think, for the next round and beyond. They've got some good players in the air, Olympic Kingsway. That's a super tackle, getting back there from Hewings, just on the pitch, and that just shows you that the idea and the mindset that they have all across the park to try and make sure that they close this game out and close it out well, because they know whoever they're going to face in the next round will go back and watch this tape, and they don't want to be coming up against a side, particularly at home, that's got the bit between their teeth, have a really good attitude, and they look like a team. They stay together, they fight for one another. They're very, very close.
Add to that as well, the scary prospect of an even fitter Liam Boland. Round of 16 likely to take place in a couple of weeks' time. Kingsway do have a few games between now and then. You'd expect Boland to keep building up those minutes. Here's Opedasano down at the byline for Edgeworth. He's toiled hard tonight as the veteran.
Oh, he's tried absolutely everything, hasn't he? And it'd be a lot easier for him to sit back in the right back position and keep in his position, but he's up and down and close to that corner flag. He's been there all night trying to get a cross in, nothing doing.
Seth Clark is another one who's worked his socks off all evening. Showed glimpses of what he can do. But again, credit to the homework of Kingsway. Been able to nullify his danger as he crosses this one into the back post looking for King, and Sinagra with an important punch.
Yeah, it's a tough one. When you come up against a good player like a Seth Clark, do you stop or try to stop him on the ball, or do you go and cut his supply and cut out his options? Very difficult to get away and stop Seth Clark one-on-one.
Edgeworth goes short from the corner. Here's Foots. Hasn't had too many openings. He fashions one here, has a go. Wasn't too far away. Had a nice looking dip and curve on it. Just to the right of the posts.
Well, that's how he plays, Foots, and we haven't seen it all night, unfortunately, for the Eagles. He loves to drop the shoulder, and he has a really good technique with that right foot, and unfortunately couldn't get many more of those opportunities tonight.
Into the final 60 seconds of added time. Hewings down to the byline, ignores Joe Knowles. Gets the cross to the back stick for Boland. Straight into the corners. Oh, neatly done. Is able to win the free kick. Maybe for one last opportunity for Kingsway.
Nothing worse when you're losing a game and somebody decides to go to the corner and start doing tricks and step overs, and you're in two minds. Do I go and just take it all, ball and all, or do I try and nurse him away from the goal? And in the end, it was the first option.
The cherry on top being the nutmeg as well. Free kick for Kingsway. Can Liam Boland get that goal? Free kick low and hard. Williams was there. But it doesn't matter, as Olympic Kingsway registers a first win for a Western Australian NPL club in 7 years. Perth Glory broke their drought on the weekends, and Kingsway have made it double delight for the WA. An outstanding performance by the Green Machine. And they showed a bit of class tonight. They will be a handful in the round of 16 for whoever they face.
Yeah, massive performance, and congratulations to them. It was a real team performance tonight. It wasn't any one real individual. They all played their part. And let's not forget, they had to come from behind as well. And that shows you a little bit about the backbone of this side and what's expected from them. And they had the quality and the decency to play, you know, under pressure, and they got the job done.
Flynn Goodman opened the scoring for Edgeworth after just 6 minutes. But then it was the Green Machine all the way. Joseph Hobson, an own goal to Aaron Opedasano. Mitch Oxborough got a well-deserved goal. And Joe Knowles, who arguably was the best on ground tonight. Full time at the Kingsway Sporting Complex in Perth. Olympic Kingsway 4, Edgeworth Eagles 1. And the home crowd have absolutely gotten right in behind their green machine as we take a look at the stats, and that really does tell a story. Of course, Eagles playing down a man for over half an hour, and that really did just tell in the end. That XG has just showed the quality of the chances that Kingsway have had. The shots as well, 3-1 the ratio. Kingsway will be a very tricky opponent next round.
Story of the night, wasn't it? I don't think Edgeworth had enough opportunities getting the ball into the box, and Olympic Kingsway, they go and they press in numbers and they go forward very, very quickly and create chances. And you're right, whoever they're going to play in the round of 16 have got to do their homework, and they've got to come up against the green machine, and they were one unit tonight.
Scoring opened in the 6th minute. It was a great start by the visiting side. Great ball in from Seth Clark to Flynn Goodman. And really that first 20 to 30 minutes was all Edgeworth, but then Kingsway came back into it, and this goal to Joseph Hobson started the rot for Edgeworth.
When they go back and look at the film, I think Edgeworth, they'll realise that defending wasn't good enough tonight. Wasn't enough protection for the goalkeeper, wasn't good enough clearing their lines, and just in these key moments just got stuck. And possibly fatigue playing a factor at that point, but a decent delivery across the face of goal. Joe Knowles having a hand in that one as well, and he was causing all sorts of problems inside the box. And here's Mitch Oxborough getting his goal for the night as well.
3-1 after 80 minutes. Liam Boland's coming on the park, straight away having an impact, and he ended up with 2 assists. Didn't get that goal that everyone wanted. Well, everyone that's not a fan of Edgeworth, that is, but... And then just a couple of minutes later, Boland again, laying it back for his good mate, Joe Knowles. And that was good night for Edgeworth, 4-1. And every single one of those goals for Kingsway, absolutely well-deserved. So they are through to the round of 16. And the action continues tomorrow night. There are 3 more spots up for grabs in the round of 16. Coverage starts from 7 p.m. Eastern on 10 Play. The NWS Spirit taking on Cup debutants Glenorchy Knights from Tasmania at the Arctic Circle. Then up in Brisbane, Olympic FC take on New South Wales powerhouse Apia Leichhardt. And then the feature game tomorrow night, the Burgers, Heidelberg United, take on the AFC Cup champions, A-League premiers, and A-League champions Central Coast Mariners. What a night it has been here in Perth. 5 more goals to the tally as well. 19 goals across 3 games here in WA. So the local football fans have been treated to an absolute show. Well, that just about wraps things up from Perth. Eric Pardelou, once again, a pleasure. Glad to give you some goals tonight.
Thanks, mate. Got some rain as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for your company tonight on 10 Play. Tune in tomorrow for the last games of the round of 16, or round of 32. The round of 16 draw will take place in the post-game show. So we'll see you tomorrow night for more Australia Cup action.